What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Having a look at Bitcoin, we are up 7% at the time of making this video. Obviously, things could change very fast in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. You can see right here, we got down to a low of $6,155. We had a beautiful bounce back. Now, the question is, what is going on? Is this just a fake out or is this the real deal? Well, I do want to talk about a few things today. Number one being the fact that we have seen a lot of Tether being moved, millions of dollars being transferred from unknown wallet to unknown wallet, some of them even to exchanges. Plus, we do have this insane spike over here on the market cap. I want to talk about that, number one, what is going on with the whales, and I also want to talk about the Bitcoin halving, and was this all just a big ploy to accumulate massive Bitcoin before the big day? Well, interestingly enough, if we actually look at some Chainalysis data, you'll notice that even though Bitcoin did take a massive hit recently, the amount of volume wasn't really coming from the smaller guys. It wasn't coming from the retail. It looks like it was really whales manipulating the market, and I do want to talk about what that could mean for Bitcoin price moving forward. And if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. If you are not subscribed, definitely consider it. We do this every single day. And without further ado, guys, let's dive in. Having a look today, we do have, for the most part, Bitcoin leading the way. If we do switch it to the Bitcoin comparative, you are noticing a lot more red in the charts. Obviously today, Bitcoin was the place to be. Now there are a few altcoins up today. We do have Digitex futures 31%, Bytecoin 27%, Blockstack, Quant, Energy, Icon, Hedge Trade, Golem, Ren, and Zella. But hopping in, having a look at Bitcoin, even though we're getting all excited over this big move, we are still in this ascending channel, this potential bear flag. Some are calling for it. However, if we do break out, I do still have a target right here at around the $7,800 level. We've been talking about this level for quite some time. In fact, now I'm starting to see other channels and other analysis talking about this level. We've been discussing it, but yesterday we also talked about the bearish scenario. If you didn't check out yesterday's video, definitely give that a look. Actually, popping up above. But having a look right here, you notice that we are held down by this heart line. Now, if we don't break out above this, we may try to retest the bottom of this level, which is right around the $6,100 level again. Getting above it would be the 7.5K, and if we break out of that, then I am looking once again at $7,800. We are still respecting this ascending trend, which is good, right? We are putting in higher lows, right? We have one higher low here, another higher low here, so that is good for Bitcoin moving forward. Also, we are above the support that held us down during the descending pattern. We are above the resistance of this descending channel that we had started all the way at the high, and we are still sitting quite comfortably above the 200 daily moving average, not to mention that we also closed the CME futures gap, so we actually have another gap up at around 9,060, and having a look right here, we are still in the center of this triangle. So as far as everything looks right now, it does look like Bitcoin is moving healthily along. However, I do want to talk about maybe what's been going on in the background. Are these whales actually sort of conspiring to manipulate the price to scoop up as much Bitcoin as they can before the halving? Well, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, so definitely stick around. Number one, we need to talk about these transactions that happened over the past 24 hours. You could see there was 24.7 million transferred from an unknown wallet to Bitfinex, okay? Now, usually when you transfer Tether to the exchange, you're usually looking to buy Bitcoin. Why would you be moving it to the exchange, right? And we also had two other transfers from the Tether treasury to unknown wallets, one in the amount of almost 24 million and another $15 million transfer. Now, I don't know if they're just updating this over here on CoinMarketCap. I couldn't find really what's going on, but essentially you could see that the Tether market cap took a massive jump. And let me know if you know anything. If you guys know why, please let me know in the description or in the comments below. I'm very interested. But you can see right here around March 29th, March 30th, the Tether market cap was sitting at around 4.6 billion, and then boom, it instantly jumped to 6.1 billion. So what is going on with this? And if this is Tether like being minted potentially, are they looking to buy more Bitcoin? Well, the thing I want to talk about, number one, is it's very important to note that we did have a lot of real volume coming in the past 24 hours. Now, this is real volume. Obviously, if you go over to something like CoinMarketCap and we look at Bitcoin, you could see that, they're calling for a $40 billion worth of volume, which is pretty incredible, really, when you consider it. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this is like wash trading and things like that. But if we go over and have a look at basically Masari, we could see that there is a real 1.4 billion. And I know that seems a lot lower, but trust me, that's very, very good considering the fact that so many people are saying, oh, nobody's interested in Bitcoin right now, right? So that is the first thing. Now, the second thing is that we have the block reward coming up. Whether or not you think that this is priced in, some people think it is, some people think it isn't. I'm going to get into those opinions in just a minute. We do need to talk about what is going on with this. Now, having a look at this halving chart, you've probably seen this before, but I do want to break this down. You can pretty much look at these Bitcoin cycles in certain sort of phases, right? The green represents the bull phases, and then immediately following bull markets, we're hit with these red bear markets where we have these massive sell-offs. We see 80% declines in the price of Bitcoin. Then it gets really boring. There's some sideways accumulation. That's basically what happened at the bottom of the dip right before we had the April 1st blast off of last year, which is the expansion stage you could see represented by the yellow, which is basically where Bitcoin has a crazy rally out of nowhere. It doesn't get above all-time highs, and then it pulls back into the reaccumulation stage. You can see we've already had this happen twice, and it does look like Bitcoin is trying to do it again. We do know that the halving doesn't necessarily mean an instant blast off, but so far it does look like we are still following exactly what's going on, with the exception of we obviously had a massive crash, a flash crash down to 3,800, obviously due to the situation that's going on right now with the pandemic. I think that kind of threw a wrench in the gears, but I still am remaining hopeful. Now, having a look at what Adam Back, the CEO of Blockstream, said, now definitely stick around for this, guys. I'm going to go into it. Bitcoin halving is quantitative hardening. Now, you've heard of quantitative easing, right? Fiat undergoing lots of politically driven quantitative easing. Bitcoin supply algorithm starts quantitative hardening the next month. He also goes to say that, people talk about hard money. Bitcoin quantitative hardening is the sound of Bitcoin getting even harder, all while the world loses its fiat mine and plummets into quantitative easing infinity. And if you don't understand the severity of the situation, you may have already seen this clip, but I'm going to play a super quick clip from Godfrey Bloom, and maybe he'll help you to understand a little bit as to what's going on right now.
Commissioner, Mr. President, I rise again, I'm afraid, to make the same old hoary speech that I've been making here for several years, and that is, it is my opinion that you do not really understand the concept of banking. All the banks are broke. Bank Santander, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank of Scotland, they're all broke. And why are they broke? It isn't an act of God. It isn't some sort of tsunami. They're broke because we have a system called fractional reserve banking, which means that banks can lend money that they don't actually have. It's a criminal scandal, and it's been going on for too long. To add to that problem, you have moral hazard, a very significant moral hazard from the political sphere. And most of the problem starts in politics and central banks, which are part of the same political system. We have counterfeiting, sometimes called quantitative easing, but counterfeiting by any other name. The artificial printing of money, which if any ordinary person did, they'd go to prison for a very long time. And yet governments and central banks do it all the time. Central banks repress the amount of interest that rates are, so we don't have the real cost of money. And yet we blame the real retail banks for manipulating LIBOR. The sheer effrontery of this is quite astonishing. It's central banks that manipulate interest rates, Commissioner. And plus, underneath all this, we talk loosely, in a rather cavalier fashion, do we not, about deposit guarantees. So when banks go broke through their own incompetence and chicanery, the taxpayer picks up the tab. It's theft from the taxpayer. And until we start sending bankers, and I include central bankers and politicians, to prison for this outrage, it will continue.
So I know some of you have seen that clip. Some of you are new to the channel. I do recommend showing that to as many people as possible. It really does help you to understand the situation. Having a look once again at the Bitcoin block reward halving, though, we need to discuss the situation because there's about two different perspectives on this, okay? And we're going to get into what those are. Before we do, I want to talk about some data from Chainalysis. Now, what's interesting is they found out that basically the pandemic and global economic contraction is affecting Bitcoin consumer habits, but they say it's in a surprising way. Now, the firm's data for Bitcoin spending using merchant services from July 2019 until March 9, 2020 reveals that there was a strong positive correlation between price and expenditure. Pretty much, the more that Bitcoin is worth, the more likely that hodlers are to spend it, right? Now, this is obviously Gersham's law. People are seeing right now that Bitcoin is currently considered quite undervalued, right? So why do you want to spend your Bitcoin, down at 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 or sell it now when you know the potential and you realize its ultimate value, especially considering that, Bitcoin could go to $100,000, $1 million. You've heard some people even saying $5 million. And that sounds crazy. It sounds absurd. But you also have to consider the amount of dollars being printed, right? You have to consider the inflation also going against If the dollar was to stay right where it is right now, yes, that's pretty crazy for Bitcoin to get to 5 million. But if you consider hyperinflation and Bitcoin having a set amount, only 21 million, it's not actually that crazy. Now, I do want to go into historically talking about the correlation between the Bitcoin halvings and significant increases in price. However, not everybody is on the same page. So you do have group number one, the pessimists, who are strong believers, and let me know which one of these groups you're in particularly, if you think that it's already priced in, but basically they're part of what's called the efficient market hypotheses, and they argue that if we all know that it's going to happen, we're all anticipating the halving event, well, then it's already priced in, meaning that they are not expecting a big increase in the price of Bitcoin at the upcoming halving. Now you have the second, which are the optimists. Now they say the fact that there is a debate in the crypto community about how the next halving is going to happen suggests that it has not been fully priced in. The fact that we're even having this conversation, right? They argue they also use the fact that very few retail investors really understand what Bitcoin halving means. Honestly, a lot of people still don't really even know or truly understand Bitcoin. Let's be honest. They say that Bitcoin's strong price rallies around the time of their first two halvings in 2012 and 2016 suggest that it will see a strong price rally either in the run-up to the halving, which is kind of the question, is that what we're kind of seeing right now? Are we seeing this sort of increase, or is it just a lot of hopium? Obviously, a lot of diversified opinions, I assume, in the comment section below, but they say that that is a possibility. Now, talking about scarcity, it seems like the world understands it when it comes to gold. You can see right now there's been a strong surge in demand for the physical gold, gold coins, little gold bars. In fact, Bloomberg reported that consumers lucky enough to be able to find these cheaper forms of gold have to pay quite a premium over the spot price. In fact, we've actually seen gold, if we zoom in right here, it has maintained relatively, it's pretty much around where it was. I mean, it had this crazy sharp drop, which did provide a really good opportunity if you are in the gold markets. But the question is, will this, eventually move into the Bitcoin markets as well? Will physical Bitcoin, like actually holding Bitcoin, not Bitcoin derivatives or futures, actually become very important once we realize how difficult it's going to be to get, right? Actually, crazy enough, you can see right here, the report says that gold dealers are so desperate to get their hands on gold bars and coins that they're actually willing to pay rare premiums. And people, they're saying, want to buy gold, not sell gold. These guys are saying they have buyers on a waiting list. And they say at this time, there's roughly only 1 or 2 sellers for every 99 buyers. So that is very interesting. But guys, in all sincerity, this just came out this morning. So U.S. weekly jobless claims have doubled to about 6.6 million. This is not good. It is not good to see unemployment rates skyrocketing. In fact, if you look at Google Trends right now, searches for how can I claim unemployment benefits are higher. They're highest they've ever been. In fact, having a look, they don't have the chart right here. I mean, it's literally like a straight line going up. So this is a serious problem. This is going to affect things like speculative assets like Bitcoin. People are not going to want to be sitting in, these crazy assets that can have fluctuations, moving 50% in a day. when they don't have a job. Okay, so that is something seriously we have to consider, and I do hope everyone out there is doing all right. Let me know how this is affecting you. Obviously, it's affecting everybody, even just the ad revenue. I'll tell you right now, on the videos right now for these ads, it's down like 50%, and not like YouTube was making a lot of money for me anyway, but I'm making half the money on YouTube revenue that I was making before. You know, even with videos, potentially some of them getting even more views. So it's just not good all around. You know, my dad, he's a landscaper. He's having people cancel jobs and stuff like that. And what's crazy is you're also seeing people that, you know, are trying to make these bank runs. They're trying to take money out of their bank. I actually had a call with my bank and they were saying that people are trying to, you know, take all this cash out. And you can see that this is from Egypt. As panic and uncertainty mount due to the virus, Egypt has become the latest country to limit bank withdrawals. Individuals can now only take out around $635 per day and about $317 from ATMs. The latest move is meant to control inflation in the country and prevent citizens from hoarding cash. Now, they said that, you know, some people they had over 30 billion Egyptian pounds, worth about 1.9 billion, was trying to get basically pulled out of the banks in the last 3 weeks. So these guys are freaking out. We obviously saw, we had the FDIC coming out and telling you, don't worry, your money's safe. Just leave it in the banks, right? But I don't want to end on all bad news today. We do have some good news. Ontario conservation authorities have tested blockchain for green energy on smart grids. This is good. So we have InSolar has developed a blockchain platform, which is called Assured Ledger, which offers trusted data exchange for transaction energy systems. These are crucial for making DERs visible at scale, the company claims. Sources such as solar and wind can be used as a backup or replacement to achieve a more sustainable energy mix, provided they are coordinated on the power grid's energy. This ostensibly ensures they do not stop utilities from providing a reliable energy source. So there you go. We have some good news. We have some bad news. But ultimately, I'm still feeling quite bullish. I'm still pretty damn excited for these cheap prices to be accumulating Bitcoin. Let me know how you feel about that below. If you guys are just totally out of the game, if you're accumulating, if you're just sitting in cash, what are you doing? And obviously, guys, if you are looking to trade cryptocurrencies, if you are looking to use, you know, something like Bybit, for example, you can make money when you long Bitcoin. You can make money by shorting Bitcoin, which means when the price is going down. Obviously, I don't recommend this for beginners. If you are interested, I do have a tutorial popping up above. And of course, I do have a link below. You can check that out in the description. If you do use the link, it does help the channel out. You are supporting it. I do make a small commission, and you do know you can get up to $90 worth of bonuses. But that being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I do appreciate all your continued support. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. Be safe out there. Let me know what you think about the upcoming halving. What's going on? How are you doing with your job situation? I know a lot of people are losing their jobs right now. That's really unfortunate. It's probably going to take a while, you know, for the economy to sort of get back. Or, you know, we're hoping maybe sometime by Q3. Let me know all your thoughts. Drop your comments below. If you're interested in joining the free Telegram group, link is above and in the description. Thank you so much. You guys rock. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.